Pokemon usually synergize pretty well with the moves they can learn, but that's not always the case. So what's up fellas, I'm Matt, and today Elias and I are gonna look at some of the worst Pokemon and move combinations in the game. Alright, let's get started.
What's up, I'm Elias, and Pokemon Violet features a bunch of Paradox Pokemon from the future. They all share the same ability, Quirk Drive, which boosts their highest stat if electric terrain is active, or if they're holding a booster energy. Most of the time, the boost is 30%, but if your highest stat is speed, it'll be 50% instead.
Iron Valiant can learn Skill Swap, which switches the user and target's abilities. But this move will always fail if it's used by or against a Paradox Pokemon, because Quirk Drive can't be removed. The same also goes for Photosynthesis, the Quirk Drive equivalent for past Paradox Pokemon, but none of those guys can learn Skill Swap. Teaching the move to Iron Valiant is essentially giving it a dead move slot.
Mud Sport weakens electric-type moves on both sides of the field for a limited time. Many of the Pokemon that can learn this move are water types, which isn't the worst thing in the universe. They can use Mud Sport to cancel out their electric weakness. But there's also quite a few ground-type Pokemon that can learn the move, which isn't so ideal.
Pokemon like Golem and Excadrill are already immune to electricity, so weakening those moves further does nothing for them. In Gens 3 through 5, this move has no use whatsoever for ground types in single battles, because the effect goes away as soon as they switch out. You could use it in double battles, but there are better ways to protect your allies from electricity. If you use a Pokemon with Lightning Rod, you can redirect electric moves away from your teammate entirely, and boost your special attack in the process. Hey Elias, you think you could beat Golem in a fight?
No.
Good answer.
Here's a quick one that depends on what ability your Pokemon has. Klutz is pretty bad because it prevents you from using held items. Sure, you could do some shenanigans with Klutz, like using Switcheroo to give your opponent something detrimental, but not being able to use items yourself is less than ideal.
Several Klutz Pokemon can also learn the move Fling, namely Audino, Beware, Golurk, Lopunny, and their pre-evolutions. It's a Dark-type move where the user throws its item at the target. Its power depends on which item you throw, and a select few items also had a guaranteed secondary effect. But Fling always fails if the user has Klutz, at least from Gen 5 onwards. Of course, all of these Pokemon can pick a different ability. Fling works just fine on Iron Fist Golurk, for example. But if you catch a Pokemon with Klutz, steer clear of this move at all costs.
Next up, let's take a look at the Lake Trio. Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf can learn the move Expanding Force. It's an 80 base power move, but if Psychic Terrain is active, it's boosted by 50%. Got a Discord message, hold on. Give me a few hours to check this one.
Okay. It's been a few hours, what's up?
That stacks with the standard 30% terrain boost too, which makes it effectively 156 power. It also becomes a spread move in that case, hitting both opponents in a double battle. But like most things involving terrains, you need to meet one condition before you get the power boost.
The Lake Guardians have the ability Levitate, which lifts them off the ground. That's an issue, because both of Expanding Force's boosts only apply if the user is grounded. Levitate is their only possible ability, so this is a terrible move for them to use. There are ways to ground these Pokemon and get the Expanding Force boosts, but like, just use a different Psychic type, man. Fun fact, by the way, despite not being good users of Expanding Force, the Lake Trio are 3 of just 4 Pokemon that can learn it by level up. The other one is Armarouge, who absolutely cleans house with this move. I don't want to listen to Levitating by Dua Lipa. Maybe later.
There are several other levitating Pokemon that can learn Expanding Force too, namely Cresselia, the Claydol line, Chimecho, and the Bronzong line. Out of all of these Pokemon, only Bronzor and Bronzong can use a different ability. Their other choices are Heat Proof and Heavy Metal. Every Psychic Flying type Pokemon can learn Expanding Force as well, with the exception of Luigi. With the exception of Lugia and Pau style Oricorio. There are ways around it, but you're better off using Armarouge or something. Expanding Force isn't a terrible move without the boosts, but it's outclassed by Psychic if you're not standing on the ground.
Now seems like a good time to tell everybody that I am actually a Psychic. Hey Elias, think of a number.
Okay.
36,999.
It was 37,000.
Well, tune in next week when I try again. Let's take a look at a similar move, Rising Voltage. It's 70 base power, but it doubles to 140 power on electric terrain if the target is grounded, as opposed to the user. So despite being a flying type, Zapdos can still usually hit pretty hard with this move in Gen 8. It won't get the standard electric terrain boost, but Rising Voltage will still be 140 power in most cases. A handful of other flying types used to learn this move too, namely Thundurus, Emolga, and Rotom Fan. Vikavolt also usually got the doubling effect, despite having Levitate.
Since the doubling effect is tied to the groundedness of the target, Rising Voltage is still pretty usable on flying and levitating Pokemon in Gen 8. I mean, it would also be usable in Gen 9 if Pokemon other than Giraffe Raikou could learn it. On the other hand though, all of Expanding Force's boosts are tied to whether the user is on the ground, so it's not worth running on Levitate users.
Pop quiz, what's Giraffe Raikou's actual name?
something thing.
Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer. You're fired. You failed the quiz. You're fired. Slaking is well known for having the ability Truant. It loafs around on every second turn, preventing it from attacking. That makes Giga Impact a surprisingly good move, since the recharging turn afterwards coincides with the loafing turn. The only drawback for Slaking is the imperfect accuracy, but moves that charge up before the attack comes out are borderline unusable.
Slaking can learn the move Solar Beam, a 120 base power grass move, but under normal circumstances, Slaking can't actually complete this move. On turn 1, Slaking will take in Sunlight, because, you know, Slavs are well known for their photosynthetic properties. But then on turn 2, Slaking decides, nah, I'm good, and just doesn't finish. Since it charged up on turn 1, the loafing turn overrides the attack. I'm crashing off of caffeine.
Place your bets, fellas. Will Elias pass out by the end of this video?
Place your bets. Did I consume over or under 200 milligrams of caffeine today?
Knowing you, I'm gonna say over.
I think that's right.
There are ways to use Solar Beam on this guy, but don't. Just don't. You'd be bending over backwards to use a special move on a mother flippin' Slaking, who has a way higher physical attack stat. You can use Harsh Sunlight or a Power Herb to use it in one turn, deactivate its ability, or swap Truant out for something else, but like, don't bother. If you decide you do want to use grass-type coverage, Slaking can also learn Seed Bomb. We love some team-building gymnastics in this house, but Solar Beam Slaking isn't worth it. We also love regular gymnastics. Tune in next week when Elias will be going to the Olympics as a gymnast.
Yep.
He will be breaking his neck.
That Australian woman on the breakdancing team. Like we said last time, there's a lot of anti-synergistic moves in Shedinja's move pool, so let's take a look at a couple more. Since it only has 1 HP, Harden is completely pointless. It raises your defense stat by 1 stage, but that doesn't help Shedinja survive anything. Any hit that deals damage to this guy will knock it out instantly. The damage formula will also always spit out at least 1. Well, except in Gen 1, but Shedinja isn't in those games, so who cares? You can't make a move go from dealing 1 damage to none, so Harden does nothing for Shedinja.
After the Olympics, she was listed as the #1 breakdancer in the world. That's
Nice.
Gotta be a rage bait, right?
Yeah, it is.
Having 1 HP also causes rest to fail if Shedinja uses it. This move normally heals the user back to full by making them go to sleep, healing any statuses in the process. But if you're at full health, rest will fail, even if you have a status condition to get rid of. Shedinja can never use rest, because it always either has full health or none.
Substitute always fails for a somewhat similar reason as well. The user puts the substitute doll in its place, but in exchange, it loses a quarter of its max health. But there's one other stipulation. If making a substitute would cause you to faint, the game simply won't let you do it. Shedinja would lose its one and only hit point if it tried to create one, so the game just says no.
This next move isn't completely useless on Shedinja, but it's outclassed by just about every other attack. Flail gets stronger if the user's current HP is low, maxing out at 200 power at roughly 4% health. Since Shedinja's always at full health if it's conscious, Flail will always be the minimum 20 power, which makes it weaker than Scratch. This concludes the obligatory Shedinja section. For more videos like this, subscribe to MEPlaysGames. You can also become a channel member for as little as 99 cents a month, which will help us keep the show going. You'll get to watch these videos early, as well as exclusive Let's Plays including our current project, Pokemon X.
Fluffy is a pretty strange ability. It halves the damage you take from contact moves, but doubles the damage from fire moves. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, but overall a net positive. Greavard and Houndstone can learn the move Sunny Day, which is an awful move choice. The game doesn't say that fire-type moves are super effective, but they're still dealing double the normal damage anyway. By setting up the sun, you're boosting the fire moves that you're already taking a bunch of damage from. Houndstone's preferred weather is actually sand, thanks to its ability Sand Rush. In fact, when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet first came out, level 55 Tyranitar plus Houndstone was one of the deadliest combinations in singles. Tyranitar's job is to set up the sand at the end of the game, then faint as quickly as possible. Assuming you have 5 fainted Pokemon in the back, Houndstone can come in and demolish the opposing team.
Last Respect starts at 50 base power, and it gets 50 power stronger each time one of your Pokemon faints, which makes it 300 power at the very end of the battle, assuming nobody's been revived. Houndstone has a respectable attack stat of 101, so it could obliterate the opposing team, and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. So if you set up the sun, you also can't take advantage of Sand Rush's speed boost. No matter which ability you choose for your Houndstone, Sunny Day is less than ideal in one way or another.
Speaking of Sunny Day, Heliolisk, Parasect, and Toxicroak can all learn the move too, but that's a terrible choice if they have Dry Skin as their ability. If it's raining, Dry Skin makes them heal 1/8 of their max health each turn, but if the sun is up, they lose that health instead. They also can't learn any fire-type moves besides Hidden Power, and in Toxicroak's case, Terra Blast. I'm sorry, I'm just like a little hungry and I would like to get a snack.
Hi Hungry, I'm Matt!
Go to hell!
No, I deserve that. Dry Skin Sunny Day Parasect is an especially bad idea, because it's already 4 times weak to fire. The sun powers up fire moves by 50%, and Dry Skin adds another 25% boost. So during harsh sunlight, Dry Skin Parasect would take 7.5 times more fire damage than usual. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Don't let your Parasect get hit by Ember and explode. I am going to jump through this screen and roundhouse kick you into next week.
Roadhouse.
I'm going to boil your organs inside out.
Synchronoise is one of the worst moves in the game. It's 120 power and 100% accurate, which is the same as some great moves like Close Combat and Brave Bird. These moves have pretty notable drawbacks, but they're fairly manageable. But Synchronoise is borderline unusable, because it only works on Pokemon that share a type with the user. Hypno is a pure Psychic type, for example, so it can only hit other Psychic types with the move.
But this move is especially atrocious on one Pokemon in particular. By breeding with a Kecleon, Musharna, or Exploud, Eevee can learn Synchronoise as an egg move. It's already a bad attack, but it gets even worse if you evolve Eevee into Umbreon. Since this guy is a pure Dark type, it can only hit other Dark types. Except no, it can't, because Dark type Pokemon are immune to Psychic entirely. That means that under normal conditions, Umbreon can't hit anything with Synchronoise.
Don't get us wrong, there are ways to deal damage with Umbreon Synchronoise, but they're just not worth the effort. You can change Umbreon's type with Soak so it can hit water types. You can also try and give a Dark type opponent a ring target, which gets rid of their Psychic immunity.
But, you know, you can also just pick better moves in the first place. Psychic is weaker, but you can actually hit most Pokemon with that move, without jumping through a quadrillion hoops. Umbreon's attacking stats are terrible though, so you're better off running defensive and support sets, as opposed to offensive ones. It's got a nice selection of support moves, like Wish and Heal Bell, as well as the unconventional Foul Play to deal damage.
Attract is another move that's kinda terrible. You can use it to infatuate your opponent, which gives them a 50% chance of losing their turn. The problem is that it only works if the opponent is the opposite gender, but it'll also never work against genderless Pokemon. Playing and Mousehold will never find love. You hate to see it. Mousehold has already found love. It's a family.
Oh no! Oh, this whole video is a sham.
We're leaving that in. Infatuation just isn't a status you can rely on because it won't even work most of the time.
It's so over for me.
Mousehold family of 4, dude.
But the same way Attract will fail against a genderless target, it'll also fail if the user is genderless. In Gens 5 through 7, Cryogonal could learn this move, despite not having a known gender. Unlike some other examples in this video, there's no way to make this move work whatsoever. You can't change a Pokemon's gender, so Attract is a dead move slot on Cryogonal. The same goes for Staryu and Starmie, who could learn this move in Gen 2 only, as well as Mew, who can learn every TM in the game.
This next pairing might seem like it has zero synergy, but Gen 1's code is complete and utter spaghetti, so it does have a really strange use case. In modern games, Counter works on any physical move, but back in Red, Blue, and Yellow, you can only use it to counter normal and fighting type attacks. Gengar is a ghost type Pokemon, meaning it's immune to both of those types, but it can still learn Counter.
There's no way to change Gengar's type in this game and use Counter, unless you do some absolute nonsense. Like mimicking Transform and turning yourself into a Mew that knows Counter. Yeah, that's not happening. But under, you know, not completely ridiculous conditions, Counter just won't work if a Gengar uses it. Except this is Generation 1, where absolutely every line of code is just a little bit off. Buckle up, fellas, it's gonna be a silly ride. Hey, Elias, what are your thoughts on seatbelts?
You should wear a seatbelt.
It is my God-given right to fly straight out the windshield.
We learned this next bit from a Big Yellow video, so go check that out after this, link in the description. If your previous Pokemon just got knocked out by a normal or fighting type move, you can switch in your counter Gengar. If your opponent doesn't attack you on that turn, Gengar will successfully use counter despite not having been hit. Counter isn't based on the damage taken on the turn it's used in Gen 1. Instead, it's based on whatever the opponent's last attacking move was, no matter how long ago it was. The damage is stored until your opponent uses another attack.
Normal type moves are incredibly common in competitive play, thanks in part to Snorlax and Tauros being 2 of the best Pokemon in the game. There are also plenty of things you can do besides attacking. You can switch out or use status moves like Rest and Reflect, for example. So despite Counter's limited use cases, it's actually surprisingly usable on Gengar. You can catch opponents off guard with this move, and I think that's fun. This one doesn't really match the theme of the video, because it just seems like terrible synergy, but I wanted to talk about it in this video. Gen 1 is aggressively silly and I love it.
Even though Counter works on all physical moves now, it's still not a great move on Gengar. This guy is as frail as the day is long, especially on the physical side. The day can be quite long.
And Gengar is quite frail, your point?
Ah, I see, but the day can also be quite short. Have you considered Alaska in winter? If you try to counter, I don't know, a Stone Edge or something, you'll probably just perish instead. But Gengar lost access to counter entirely in Gen 9, so that's sort of a moot point. It's literally in the name. It's a family, buddy.
That's the whole point of the Pokemon. Oh no, what have I done? I was thinking about when I have more time on my hands, I might do like freelance script writing. Maybe not.
I know most of the energy drinks by heart. 12 fluid ounce Red Bulls are all 114 milligrams of caffeine.
7 energy drinks worth of nutritional info later. Can I be honest with you? I'm not sure if the fact that you know all of these by heart is admirable or concerning.
It's probably concerning.
I think that resonated with one of the strings on my guitar, and that's bad because that means one of the strings is out of tune.
Nice.
There's no C string on guitar.
Your middle name is... Give me the first letter.
I've got 2 middle names.
Can I buy a vowel?
2 terrible rounds of Wheel of Fortune later.
Yeah, Matt, Julian, Steve.
Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer. I'm pretty sure I do know your middle name, though.
Yeah, that's it. Can you pronounce it?
No. Hi, editor's note. Elias' middle name is Chinese, a language I don't speak a lick of. I know how to spell the name but not how to properly pronounce it. Welp, that's all we got for today. Leave a comment about Staraptor. If you've been enjoying our video so far, consider becoming a channel member to help support the show. And as always, shoutouts to our existing members, Akruda, Starkid Phil, Elias, although I'm still Venmoing him $1 every month for his membership, Skintist, Summon Sloth, Lord Matthew, Victor Manzo, Saphira, Shard the Duraludon, Kai the Memer, Gavin Eric, Patrick Chipman, and Kitstay. I got Patrick's name wrong in the last video, so I made 100% sure I didn't say Chapman again. My bad, man. Good night, fellas. Sleep well.